Torches are the real MVP of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You can use them as a weapon, set your arrows on fire, break the wood planks you normally need an arrow for, and above all else, they light your path. You the real MVP fire. Now let's get into some Assassin's Creed Valhalla tips. If you have any tips of your own that I don't answer in this video, do leave them in the comments below so that we can all help each other. And if you do go on to enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. I'll have plenty more Valhalla content coming out soon. Now, starting off with exploration tips. Now you will have noticed on the map there are three categories of icons: gold for wealth, blue for mysteries, and white for artifacts. The primary ones here that you want to focus on is the wealth, as from this you will get new gear for Eivor and abilities such as the books of knowledge. There is some cool things with the blue and the white artifacts, but they're not necessarily focused on developing the character. They're more side things for you to do. When you are exploring in a new region, it's often a good idea to start doing that story arc first before you spend too much time exploring, as they will take you to most of the key locations in that region as part of the quest. So if you're just trying to maximize your time, it's better off to do the region main story and then spend most of your time exploring. You can get straight on your horse by holding down the button when you do summon your horse. He will come up to you and you'll get immediately on your horse. And while you're on your horse, you don't actually have to get off if you want to collect ore. You can just ram your horse into these little ore stations and you can pick up the ore. Pretty handy there. As you are exploring in the regions, there are little gold wealth icons on the map that you can see by zooming in. These don't actually contribute to the region's overall wealth that you have collected. These are just extra resources like iron and leather and some settlement materials that will help you push your character forward and get some easy upgrades. You can also raid any village that is close to the water, even if it doesn't have the raid icon. You can either do this from your longship or from actually just being in that village. If you bring up the quick select menu, the use horn will actually change to start raid if you can raid that village, and then your guys will just appear and start ransacking the place. The opals that you find throughout the world can be traded with Redder at your settlement. He will appear after you have completed some of the story and upgraded your settlement a bit, and then you can use this to get some of the really legendary gear that is usually available through the microtransaction system. There are a ton of puzzles in the game world. If you find a locked door, there is usually a key nearby. A cracked wall, there's always an explosive jar nearby. All the solutions to the problems you find will be resolved in the close vicinity of the problem. You'll never have to leave somewhere to get something and then come back. There's always a solution nearby, so keep looking around. You'll definitely find it eventually. Once you have unlocked the stable, you should also teach your horse how to swim, as it makes the traversal in the game so much easier, so you don't have to get off your horse every time you do touch the water. Meditation also passes time. There are some quests that are required to have a certain time of day for their completion, so be sure to meditate if you want to skip some time for that to happen. And the last exploration tip is that you will find these guys throughout the world with this little question mark over their head. If you talk to them, they will give you some information about a location that you haven't discovered yet. So it will actually tell you, if they've got a gold icon on the map, they will actually tell you what is actually going to be at that location when you do get there. Combat tips. First off, you can jump off a ledge and pull out your bow to slow down time so you can aim your shots to get that perfect shot. Every weapon type that you find throughout the game world will have its own attack animations for both heavy and light attack, and the offhand attack if you do put it in your offhand. You can also dual wield two-handed weapons if you do unlock that passive, and it's a good idea to check with every weapon that you find to see what these attack animations are and see if you actually like them better than what you're already using. It's a good idea to just play around with these animations here. Speaking of dual wielding, you can put a torch in your offhand for extra fire damage, and you can also put the torch on the ground and use it to light your arrows that you do shoot. I don't want to cover too much about how to take out specific enemies. However, every enemy will have a stun bar, and breaking this stun bar to initiate a stun attack is the best way to clear through elites and even the lesser enemies that you find throughout the world. If an enemy flashes orange, you can parry or block this attack, and by parrying that attack, you will actually break most of their stun, and this is the best way to break that down to get these stuns happening. If you are looking to be more of a stealthy Viking than an outright warrior, you can clear out locations before initiating quests to actually make that quest much more simpler. You'll have these quests where you'll have to go to an outpost or various locations and take on enemies there. You can actually go there, sabotage their equipment, and clear out the enemies before you initiate the quest, so that when you get there, there's only going to be a few enemies left. So this is a good way that you can actually use more stealth in the game if you want to choose that route, but in my opinion, just charge through and raid everything. I've been having a ton of fun just doing that. And also, if you are on fire, you can hold the dodge button to put yourself out and to save yourself some of that extra fire damage. Upgrading Eivor. As mentioned, your main gear upgrades come from wealth, so you want to be looking for these gold icons on the map. If you are trying to find new gear, you won't really find them from just looting enemies as you would in Odyssey. You can also buy weapons and gear from traders, but there isn't much to the gear that you'll get here. There's only a few options, so it's better to try and see what you can find throughout the world. If you're looking to upgrade that gear that you find, Gunner at your settlement is the option to do that here, and you should be upgrading your gear much more often here than in Odyssey, as you don't find as much gear throughout the game. It's really a limited amount of gear that you'll find. Each gear has its own purpose, so find something that you like and then upgrade it through the system with Gunner. You can actually see what type of gear it is by the bear, raven, or hunter icon at the top of the gear, and it relates to a specific skill tree that you're focusing on. So in that skill tree, there will be buffs to either the bear, raven, or hunter gear that you find. Also, don't forget to put runes on the gear that you do find. You'll find plenty of runes throughout the game, and you can put these into sockets on the gear that you have, and you can also take these out and put different ones in. You don't lose the rune when you do resocket here. As for skills, you will develop the skill tree out further and unlock different sections as you advance through the game. Which skill tree you prioritize is really up to your own playstyle. However, there is a couple of things that I suggest that anyone should really go for regardless. The dual wield swapping, if you are dual wielding, is really important so that you can switch which weapon is your primary weapon. So if you have an axe in your main hand and a dagger in your offhand, you can switch which one is your primary to change up your attack animation specifically for that encounter. If you do like dual wielding, going the route and getting the two-handed dual wielding is also great. I have been dual wielding a two-handed axe and a smaller axe for most of my playthrough and found this to really suit my style of gameplay. Brush with Death is also a really powerful skill. If you perform a perfect dodge, you will get a few seconds of slow down time so that you can initiate hits back, or a good idea here is to grab out your bow and focus on the highlighted areas of the enemy to break their stun so that you can get in a stun attack at that time. At any time when you are playing around in your skills, you can respec all of your skills or even specific skills if you want to make minor changes. So don't be afraid to tinker here and play around with the system and see what really suits for you the best. In terms of abilities, finding these Book of Knowledges at the gold wealth locations is what you want to do here if you are looking to find new abilities. Most of your upgrades are really focused around the gold wealth icons, from the gear that you find throughout the world, the abilities through the Book of Knowledge that you find, as well as the ingots that you get from some of these wealth so that you can upgrade your gear. If you're really looking to upgrade your character, focusing on the wealth icons is really important for that aspect of the game. There is still a lot of things I haven't covered in this video, like the secret legendary armor of a particular god, or the Olag dice game, which is an absolute blast to play in my opinion. If you have any tips of your own, put them down in the comments section down below so that we can all help each other and get better at this game together. And if you're looking for more content, why not check out my Assassin's Creed Valhalla review? It's spoiler free, don't worry. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.